Hey everybody, just waiting on a few others here.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
Hey. And kick this one off, and we also have Amy on the call today. She'll be just listening in on this one and maybe talking about some of the initiatives. But I'll lead this call, and then next one she'll pick it up. So on the update side, I think I can go first. On the Copper team front, we've had a pretty busy 2 weeks. Launched on Arbitrum, have been making some significant improvements to auction creation based on feedback from teams that are coming through interested in LBPs. Like there's certain features that we're finding common interest for. So we are kind of working and addressing those needs, and we've seen a lot of positive reception on that front. And also making some important contract changes to prepare for new features. And the team's been architecting out some new product directions that we will be exploring and adding over the next couple of quarters. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it on Copper. Does anyone have any questions? Cool. In that case, we'll move on. mistX, Dyer, want to go next?
Sure. So the last couple of weeks, a few things. So the Pope campaign ended. So I think Hazelnut's going to send me a few details in a moment, so I can give you guys some information on that. We've been working on limit orders, so that is underway. I think you might have seen like a little teaser from SIG as far as UI goes. So that we're still in the final testing phases, but we expect maybe late next week we should have a release out for some internal testing, and then hopefully if it goes off without a hitch, we'll release it to production. We've also fixed a number of bugs from just some user feedback, which was great. We've been receiving a lot of good feedback from the community that's led to some bug fixes. We've also fixed a few gas estimation issues that have increased our success rate, or rather than issues, they're just optimizations that allow us to estimate that a lot more accurately. So that has increased our transaction success rate quite a bit. We're sitting around usually on a day-to-day between 80 and 90% success rate, which is great. Other than that, we've been doing a lot of research into new pools and our aggregation and L2s. So pretty soon after the limit orders, we'll be stepping in that direction. And yeah, if anybody has any questions. Well, I just got an update. So, so the popes for the beta testers campaign has been distributed, as well as the popes for the early adopters. So, if you believe that you were a beta tester or one of the first 1,000 unique users, you should be able to claim that pope. And if you have any questions on how to do that, you can reach out.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Dyer about mistX? Cool. All right, in that case, we'll move on to the Crucible team with Ninja and Hyper. Ninja, want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everyone. So the last 2 weeks, we've been working on a few things. Firstly, we had to do a bit of work on the integration for viewing your Crucible on OpenSea and also other platforms. So we've come a long way now, and you're able to view a screenshot in the collections view, and we're also finalizing being able to interact with your Crucible as well in like a 3D way. So it's working, but we're just doing like a few final touches. We've also allowed users to view the screenshots in other marketplaces like Looks Rare and Rareable. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoy that. I know you've been waiting a long time. Apart from that, we've also been making progress on the marketplace that we're trying to build out. So making improvements to the smart contracts and gas savings as well. And lastly, we're very close to launching on our first L2. So there should be an announcement in the next week. And from that point onwards, I think we want to launch on another L2 as well. Don't want to say which one yet, but that should come shortly after the one that we're going to release next week. And then it's just a matter of getting some reward programs on there so users can start subscribing to them. Yeah, that's all from the dev side of things. So I'll pass over to Hyper to go over the creative side, and we can take questions after.
Hey everyone. So as Ninja just said, we finished the OpenSea integration. If you guys go to OpenSea, you'll be able to see it there working in live, which is pretty cool. We've have to do as Ninja said, and I worked on the system a lot the past week as well. We had to do some changes to the artwork code to make it work with integration, and we have a system in place to take screenshots of the crucibles, which is going right now. So I would say the ETA estimated time to have all the screenshots would be Monday. So if your Crucible doesn't have a screenshot yet, don't worry, it's coming. Also, the features that we have been working on the past few weeks about adding new graphics options and a new visual feature for arcane crucibles. Those are done and should be live anytime in the next few days, hopefully even today after the call. So if you check out your crucibles in the Crucible website, you'll also see there will be some changes and some new options to interact with there. I hope you guys like it. Other than that, we did some progress on the new branding, as I had already mentioned. Hope to be able to share soon. And I'll be dropping after this call a topic in our discourse platform, because we've been researching and discussing how to take the Crucible art to other chains and what would be the best way forward with that. And we would really like your input as a community. So I wrote a topic and I'll be sharing it there after the call, and I'd love to hear your thoughts too. And I guess that's it for me. So does anyone have any questions for us?
I think we have $2 Chuck here.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So, I had a question regarding, deploying on a L2. So, does that mean that we are going to Crucible V2 Or will that still be V1 that's going to be deployed on the L2s?
So it's still going to be V1, but once we finalize V2, then we're going to make that available to all the L2s that will support.
And speaking about L2s, just wanted to shout out a discussion that's going on in our Alchemist discourse about the strategy to move multi-chain for Alchemist and what that could look like. So if anyone in the audience has any thoughts on that, please jump in. A lot of our products will be moving to L2, so it's also relevant to discuss how that could impact Alchemist and what we should be considering and whether we should be doing something proactively on that front. Sorry, Chuck, did you have another question?
Yeah. No, well, just regarding that, the discourse discussion, what is the direction as far as like, even deploying Mist on the L2s? Are we going to see something like Asatoro mentioning something like a wrapped Mist, or will it just be Mist residing on the L2?
So my understanding is you can just bridge any ERC20 from mainnet onto other chains, and you just need to enable that, and then people will be easily able to transition their Mist from mainnet to, let's say, Polygon or somewhere else. It's probably not the same for all chains, but I think at least for most L2s, it would work that way. But I'm definitely not an expert yet on that front, so need to do some more due diligence. But I think that's how it works.
Okay, and has it been decided as to where the rewards will be coming from? Will rewards be? I guess. Will the rewards be coming from the products that are on those L2s, or will there be a new, I guess, a Loodle that will be emitting Mist for the Loodle on each separate chain, or will that be coming from main chain? I guess distributed to.
Yeah, I think all of those are possible directions, and that's what the discussion in the forum is for. I had personally some initial thoughts there, but it's just an initial kind of rough idea, and there have been a lot of positive contributions there. So I think at some point I'll probably compile all of those thoughts and either repost or further add to that discussion. I think it's still unclear as to how exactly we'd do something like that, and fleshing that out in the forum. There's like cons and pros to all the different approaches that were presented, so it'll probably be a matter of weighing those and then putting it up for a community vote and seeing what the community thinks.
Great, thanks for answering my questions. I'll step down.
Thanks for the questions. Anybody else? All right, Daniel, maybe you could give the core update.
Yeah, sure thing. So this week we've had some new team members come and change over. So we've been doing some access control updates and revisions. We've also been continuing the discussions around incubation and coordination with some more external teams, sort of VCs and business development types. And I know I teased last call that there's a product being worked on that is sort of tied into this incubation and product and coordination side. So that is getting very close to completion, and hopefully in the next few weeks we should be able to put out an official announcement about that. But things are progressing really well on that side. One other thing that we've been working on is an integration, well, not an integration, but getting ourselves listed on Token Terminal. So Token Terminal is really critical for people to be able to understand like all the metrics around our token and how the protocol generates value and things like that. So in order to integrate there, they work on a system where they track wallet addresses. And because we have different projects that are feeding revenues and things like that back into the Aludel in more complex manners than a lot of traditional like AMMs and things like that, it's a little bit more complicated for them to accurately track all of our protocol generated revenues. So we've been looking at how we can restructure our system such that they can accurately track everything that's going on in Alchemist, so that external parties can have a good and quick view over how Alchemist is doing and all the various metrics around our project. As has been mentioned before as well, we launched a discourse. I'm not sure if that was mentioned in the last community call, but our discourse is really good for sort of more in-depth topic discussion and long-term, sort of long-form proposals rather than the short-form conversation, which Discord's great for. So things tend to get lost in Discord a lot, especially sort of more in-depth conversations. So yeah, feel free to jump on the Discord and you know, raise any proposals or comments on them, and I think this would be a great medium for us to be able to focus on those more complicated and in-depth topics. And yeah, last of all, this week we welcomed in the new community council members. So congratulations to Crypto 420 and Cryptographic. They had their first council meeting this week, and yeah, if either of them would, or both of them would like to jump up and say a few words or answer any questions, then yeah, feel free to do so. But while they're jumping on, does anyone have any questions?
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to say hi to Alchemist as a community, and I'm very excited to be a council member for the community and try to bring as much value as I can to shape the future for Alchemist. So just want to say hi.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to kind of second what Swenny said and just say hi to everyone and thank you for the, for the support. I think we're both going to do our absolute best to add as much value as possible. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to take any questions.
And also, as a note, the channel in which the council conducts a lot of our public-facing discussions is under the Get Involved section in the Discord, so you can follow along. We just had our first 3-hour meeting last Wednesday. Went over quite a bit, but there were a lot of items to discuss, and the discussion was extremely productive. And we'll have a lot of work ahead of us, but I certainly think it will make a huge difference in how we operate, and we'll be posting regular updates on that front. So yeah, if anybody from the community has any questions about the council or anything that we're up to, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, I'll just do an open floor for any questions Alchemist related. So we had $2 Chuck jump on, and then Renar's $2 Chuck wanna go first.
It's not so much a question that I have, but just a statement to make. Actually, just to congratulate the whole team on a full year of being in the crypto space and providing wonderful products. So happy birthday, guys!
Happy
Thank you.
birthday, man. That's big achievements.
Happy birthday to
We have-
everybody.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, definitely something we failed to update or to provide an update on it during this call. It was Alchemist Inception last Sunday. That's when Stefan, I think, minted the Mist tokens a year before.
Yeah,
Yeah, what do
and
you-
if you think about it, only in 1 year we have achieved 3 functioning projects. It's quite impressive. Yeah, so I had a question for Crypto 420 and Cryptographic. I was wondering what exactly are all the responsibilities of council members?
You want to go first, Cryptographic, or you want me to start?
Don't mind, bro. You can go and I'll take over afterwards.
So, in my understanding, the council is a very important. It's a very important function. You are basically deciding who is getting funded or who new project is getting incubated by the Alchemist. So, I think it's a lot of responsibilities, and we have to do our utmost best for due diligence to make sure that we only bring in project that we see has end value. If it's not instantly, we have to just trust the process and be like find narratives and just be creating products we know users will want. So our end goal is to have increase our user base and also bring value to the token holder. This is the most valuable thing we can do as a community, and in that we have to create like KPIs. So we discussed a lot of things. You saw that we shared a summary from the meeting. So it's a lot of responsibility in my opinion. I'm very excited to do my utmost best to make sure that we have a very bright future in the end of the road.
So yeah, like 420 said, I pretty much hit the nail on the head. Our responsibilities are mainly to kind of oversee funding of different projects. This allows, like, in my opinion, it allows the community to have like direct access to kind of like what's going on in terms of incubation, in terms of funding. It also strengthens kind of the community and the team relationship. So this, alongside different things like discourse, etc., are really, really helpful. It's mainly like, for me personally, it's mainly like, how can we leverage the community in terms of their ideas, what they want, and how can we kind of provide a voice for them from an incubation and kind of like funding perspective for existing products. So it's great to be given the opportunity to represent you guys and always kind of look out for the holders' interest as well as Alchemist's interest as a whole, and hopefully we can add some value there.
Yeah, thank you for answering and clarifying that. But except from like funding questions, are there some additional responsibilities that council has to do, or is it all about the funding?
I would say it's mainly about how does Alchemist utilize its resources, and where can we best direct those resources in terms of be it incubation or be it with existing products. So that's kind of like the main remit. However, in saying that, the council doesn't come by itself. It's come with the discourse forum. It's come with several different initiatives designed to be quite honest, to open up and empower the community. Which I think is like fantastic. So generally, anything discussed in discourse, etc., would be covered by us, although it may not be directly under our remit. It's not like we've come in as as kind of an executive board. That's not how it is. It's mainly about where can we direct our resources, where are they best spent, what can we do to add value from a resource based perspective, and how to direct those. So that's really where it's at. Of course, it's I would say in a business environment, that's an extremely important position. It provides a lot of transparency and accountability as well, which is key. And I'm really glad that the team is taking these steps, and they're very supportive, to be honest. So it's kind of great from that side of things.
Yeah, just to add a little bit on that. So it will be the first time next week where all the existing products will have to present to the council their KPIs and what their current baselines are, and what their goals are for the future. So there will be real accountability to essentially the community. So right now, only cryptographic and 420 have been elected into the council, but like in 6 months when elections come again, it's really just all community representation. Maybe we'll do something where there's some senior involvement still, but as a whole, the council is meant to really just give control to the community over having a say in where resources are directed, and having accountability for what's built, how much value it's providing in turn, and so on. And this is not to say this is also like the final structure of Alchemist governance. There's still I think a lot of work to be done, and a lot of changes to be made to strengthen it. And the discourse forum, the long form discussion forum, is the place where we hope we will have these discussions in the open and arrive at these structures and iterate through them and just continue improving. So yeah, I encourage everyone to participate. We want to have the community heard, and we want to leverage the breadth of knowledge that people have in coming up with these structures and bringing them to life.
So is the 6 months set up since Crypto 420 and Cryptographic jumped on at the beginning of February? So 6 months would be like we'd have to vote in July next, or are you guys splitting the year like December and June to be to have those votes?
And honestly, we haven't actually fully fleshed it out, but I think it would make sense for it to be just 6 months from when the original election concluded. So, 3 weeks ahead of that date, a new election will take place.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it makes sense to have the votes to, first of all, have someone in for the first group in for less than 6 months, and then second of all, have to have the votes on New Year's Eve, essentially, when a lot of people are likely to be offline. So yeah, I think 6 months from the initial inception date makes the most sense.
I think I saw Santa briefly jump on stage, but maybe he had his question or their question answered. Tubak Chuck, you all good? Do you have any other questions for us? Or thoughts?
No, I'm stepping down.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Or unless I just invite everybody to join us later today for the radio channel event, covering the proof of alchemy and having crypto AMs do the desert island mists. So yeah, come join us, get some POAPs, have some fun.
Yeah, very special event. So for those that don't know, it's around. So the Desert Mists is a show that Alchemist radio guys have put together. It kind of pays homage to a UK show on BBC Radio where somebody comes on the show and presents 8 tracks, or maybe it's more. So 8 songs that speak to them and that they would, take with them to a desert island if they were stranded there. So those would be the tracks that they'd most love to have with them, and it's very often kind of music that speaks to the guests and get to know the guests a bit more because they also bring context around why they've selected those songs. So it will be a pretty entertaining way to get to know Crypto Ams, our new head of marketing. So definitely should check that out, guys. And yeah, now we also have Santa. Hey, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
I had some technical difficulties. So I have 2 questions. The first one, they're both with regards to what was outputted into the council thread, I guess. The main one would be you guys talk about utility versus revenue as product goals. And I was kind of wondering maybe the elected officials, but also the kind of the core members of the council from the team. How do you view and where do you guys stand on what is more important, like utility or generating revenue?
I can go first. So, in my opinion, like I believe that utility is something you need for a long-term success, and revenue is something you get from having a utility you know that is important in the space and something that people are gonna use. So, when you're incubating a project, it's like if you do this in Web2 world, you have to use a lot of resources to even get revenue. So it's a long process, and in crypto everything moves so fast. Like we just been around for 1 year and have 3 products, and in my opinion all of these products are foundational for ecosystem. What we want to be, we want to be a decentralized exchange, we want to be an incubation, like we want to be a launch pad. We also want to have NFTs with utility to have, like we want to create a lot of utility for myths. So I think both of those are very important, but it's about how do you evaluate at the moment of time that what is important right now in the beginning phases of an incubation. Is it to focus on revenue first, or should we focus on utility? So I think this is a very open question. I think the community should also be very active in this because this is about the future of Alchemist. So I think utility will outweigh the revenue in the long term, because once the utility becomes something that is standard for the space, a lot of projects and a lot of businesses and different type of industries will implement that, and this will give a lot of end results for the Alchemist, because you will get branding awareness. This is a lot of things that is coming from a good utility, because it's all about users. Like Web3 is not a lot of people that is in Web3, so it's about capturing the users that is entering the space, and you do this by having interesting utilities not other project has. So I think both of them are very important, but utility might sometimes outweigh the revenue on a short-term basis. On the long term, it should be like an equilibrium from both of them. Just my.
Yeah, so I personally I agree with what 420 said 100%. I'd like to highlight like both are extremely important, growth indicators. Okay, so with my background, I tend to focus more on revenue. However, utility is just as important. So, end of the day, both actually go hand in hand. So if you drive utility to Alchemist as a whole, generally you're able to extract revenue via utilizing that utility, right? So that's kind of like how I see it. It's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship, let's say. The more utility you have, the more revenue you can drive. I also think generally the whole Web3 space is all about narratives at the moment. Whilst it's very speculative now, can you say in 5 years' time that it's not going to be a revenue-driven economy, let's say? Can we say that projects aren't going to be valued based on their rev gen or revenue generation, as opposed to just purely being speculative? So, today you can have, I don't know, any dog coin can be valued at whatever it's valued at, whilst having absolutely zero utility and absolutely zero revenue generation, purely, driven via speculative mania. Is that going to be the case in 3, 4, 5 years' time? Alchemist isn't going nowhere. We're here to stay, kind of thing. So, for me, both are extremely important. It's not even a question of which one is more important than the other. They're both equally important, in my personal view. And so everything, I kind of see everything from that lens of, how is this useful, and how are people going to utilize it, and how can we make money off it? Those are the two questions I ask all the time. So I hope that answers your question.
And yeah, just to add a little bit on that, I totally agree. I think the biggest challenge is that revenue is easy to measure, utility not as easy. So in order to, I think, be effective, we will really kind of need to, like as a council, in evaluating utility opportunities, we will really need to kind of think through the right measures and the right statistics for that, because very often kind of like utility is a little bit more abstract. Like it's like how many tokens are being locked up, or how many tokens are being sunk into a particular activity, that locks them away from circulation. It's like, well, if mist is accepted maybe in more products, right? That's also utility, but it's not about locking tokens up, but giving them a real like use case or real power to their narrative. So I think it's just utility as a whole is harder to measure, and we'll need to be careful to kind of not, what's the right way to put it here? It can also be like, right, kind of fluffed. So you just got to be careful to ground it in reality and in facts when evaluating those opportunities.
Cool. I appreciate feedback, and you guys gave wonderful responses. I guess kind of to play off of that, my next question would be, you guys had this question in the thread: where do you measure yourself against? Where are you now? And where do you expect to be in X time? Is there, obviously both measurements are important. However, is there more value put on where the product will be in the future, or are you guys focusing more on where the product is now? Even I know they kind of go hand in hand, but
it's a case by case basis. Depends on what the product is about, and like what current value it's delivering. So there's going to be some products that will require potentially a lot more R&D and a lot more of an investment, but if they have the right team, or we believe that they have the right team to execute that, that's one thing. But then there will be products that should be generating revenue in 3 months because of the nature of what the service is. So I think it'd be hard to say to generalize at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess this will be my last one. Where does the intellectual property stand?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question, because in our community, in our world, we're kind of on the forefront of how things are being done, and building in crypto, you have to always expect that there's going to be forks, there's going to be kind of somebody imitating you, or somebody that can take your idea. So let's say like you have strong claims on IP, like you can't really do much if a group of anons, takes that idea anyways and creates a copycat. So I think a lot of it right now within the Alchemist community is being enforced by purely social bonds and social pressures. And I think that that's pretty powerful, actually, and has been effective, and has enabled teams to not have a lot of baggage in the beginning, worrying about those kind of things like trademarks or intellectual property or so on. But I think as like products mature, maybe it'll be a different conversation or different attitude. I know Daniel also has a lot of thoughts on this. So Daniel, maybe you can chip in as well.
Yeah, sure. So my thoughts very much echo what Bree has said. So, there's a lot of social and reputational pressures enforcing the current structure. In order to properly register and protect your IP, you need both like yourself to have a legal and registered entity, as well as the party that you're licensing IP to, or that you're in a relationship with. For example, any of the incubation products and things like that. So there definitely will get to a stage where for different products where it is required for them to start protecting their IP. However, at the incubation and the experimentation side, start at the very sort of start of a product's journey, we believe it's just too much overhead. We're in an industry where people are constantly forking each other. I mean, like products here are forked code from other products, like open source code that's free to fork, but it's just like a traditional part of our industry that, you fork and you build off each other rather than building something from scratch. So you'll find that, 99% of decentralized products aren't registered and don't have, legally binding IP protection, because they're building off other products and other products are building off them. So it's not a huge issue. But as individual products will start to grow and scale, then that will be on them to protect their IP, as is needed and as will be beneficial. So it's really just a journey, and we're not at the stage now where it makes sense to try and protect all of our IP. A lot of the stuff we're building is open source and is similar to what other people are building. It's not like we have proprietary sort of algorithms like you would at a big tech company that need protecting. But in the future, then some of the products will start to go down that alley in those directions, and then it will start to make sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like you all are more thinking from maybe like I would say branding or like imagery, because I mean at the end of the day, a lot of Alchemist is derived from open source technology. So I guess like would it make sense? Would you guys consider like a product eventually, if it morphs into something really its own, taking the code like closed source? Or I guess maybe what is the IP kind of that is in discussion?
So we don't have any specific like IP that we're currently concerned about, because as you said, a lot of it is built off other projects and products. But once we get to a stage where there is IP that needs protecting and that's valuable, then of course we'll go down that route and we'll look at the most effective ways to do that while sort of maintaining as best as possible the decentralized nature of what Alchemist is today. But there's nothing sort of like on the forefront right now which we're immediately concerned about.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you everybody for answering my questions. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your question, Santa.
Yeah, great questions. One thing I just realized, so last time we had CryptoAms on here, she had some trouble, technical difficulties, so she wasn't able to properly introduce herself. Not to put you on the spot again, CryptoAms, but maybe you could tell us a few words about you and about the work you'll be doing here and what you're looking forward to.
Well, let's just first check that you can hear me.
Yep, can hear you.
Yep. Okay, excellent. We've got a lot further than we did last time. So, hi everyone. I've been part of the team for just over a week now, and everyone's made me feel really welcome. So that's really great. Thank you very much. So I suppose me personally, I've got over a decade of marketing experience coming from a more traditional background. So having worked in large multinational companies and financial institutions. And the last few years, I've been self-employed working with startup businesses. I spent a bit of time last year with a crypto company called Coda Finance, and I suppose that gave me a bit of a taste for sort of, I suppose, this world, and I knew it was something that I wanted to be more involved with. So I started looking for the right role, and then luckily this one came up. So I suppose I've spent the last week or so, I guess, finding my feet, getting to grips with how things work around here, and getting to understand the Alchemist brand and products a little bit more. So one of the first things I've been working on is something that will be coming out into the community next week. So I've created a survey so that I can get a feel for who the community are, what their thoughts are on Alchemist, the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to hear it all, what it is that people need from us. And then I guess that will really influence the strategy and plans that I'll be putting forward in then the coming weeks for Alchemist and for the incubator. I'll be working with the other product marketing leads to make sure that we're working together in the best possible way and sort of supporting each other, and they've been amazing so far. So looking forward to working with them more. We will be providing a monthly marketing overview for all the products on Alchemist going forward. So the January update for that will be available to everybody to take a look at early next week. And then I suppose the main thing I'm looking forward to, and I guess my sort of personal mission slightly, is to look at all our communication channels, so like our websites or like here on Discord, etc., and creating a strategy that helps us sort of re-engage with our community, and build not I suppose morale, but build the community up more, and then just opening us up to new community members. So how do we go about doing that? What do we need to do to make sure that we're sort of easily accessible for people that want to get involved with our projects? So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, kind of what I'm working on at the moment. I'm sure it'll be evolving and sort of ever changing, but yeah, that's it for now. So thank you. And if there's any questions, and as someone said earlier, join us for the radio show tonight at 9:00, and you can hear all my awful taste in music.
There's no such thing. Music is subjective.
Okay.
But yes, thanks for the intro. Any questions for CryptoAms before we close out this call? Awesome. Thanks everybody for joining the community call, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.